Okay, so this is going to be my very first EDH deck tech thing, I guess. Using a deck I've recently built, but I've had a lot of fun playing. This is Melek Izzet Paragon. A lot of people play this guy. Excuse me, he's a pretty fun deck. Play with the top card revealed. You may cast it if it's an instant or sorcery, and if you cast it from the top, you get to copy it. 6-drop, 2/4. Classic Izzet shenanigans. Alright, so we'll start with land. Land we have, oh god. I'll move that back a bit. Really bad at this. Land we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mountains. I'm a bit of a stickler for art, so I like to have them match as best I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 islands. Sadly, my islands don't all match, but I'm getting there. For multicolor, we have Shivan Reef, Izzet Boilerworks, Steam Vents, Volcanic Island. This is actually a proxy, so it's not actually. Look at those borders. You can tell it's probably a fake. Yeah, it's just a decent proxy I've had for a while. Command Tower for utility land. We have Halimar Depths. We have we have Seat of the Synod, and we have Migosi. A lot of people will bag me up for playing Migosi. They think it's a bit silly. It's slow. It can be inefficient. You tap it, you pay a mana, you tap it, you put a counter on it, and you skip your next turn. Then you can tap it, remove the counter, bounce it to your hand, and take an additional turn afterwards. I actually find it really good because if you skip an early turn, it can get really, really silly really quickly. And yeah, great Furnace. These are the colorless utilities, I guess. You have Rail Tower, it's pretty good. Temple of the False God. Arcane Lighthouse, just in case of hexproof. I cannot really deal with it very well, so this is just useful. Desolate Lighthouse for filtering. This is Terrain Generator. Lets you put basics onto the field tapped for 2 mana and tapping this card, so it's just useful. And that's it for land. Next we have artifacts. So artifacts, a lot of these are just rocks. So you start with Soul Ring, Mind Stone. It's a bit slower, you tap for a colorless, but it also lets you draw a card eventually, so it's pretty handy. Cold Steel Heart, really useful in colored decks, or 2-color decks especially. I tend to use it for blue mana, that's about it. Commander Sphere, it's taps for any color and you get to draw a card, 3 mana, pretty handy. Dinget, we all know Darksteel Ingot very well. Thrown Dynamo, Gilded Lotus, and Pyromancer's Goggles was an odd choice, I think. It only adds a red, but if you use it to cast a red instant or a sorcery, you get to copy it, so that can be kind of fun, especially when you're casting from the top of your deck with Melek, you get to copy it again. Pretty useful. Top just works really well with the commander, and the first of the win cons would be Sink's Bone Wand. Most people who play the Stormish variant of this deck know the card well, and it's just a handy card. You put a counter on it whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, and then you do that much damage to something. Can get pretty crazy. And that's it for the artifacts. Next we have enchantments. We have Rhystic Study, Jace's Sanctum. I just find it useful. Drops the cost of your instants and sorceries by 1, and you get to scry whenever you cast. It's pretty handy. Arcane Melee was another odd choice. A lot of people find it a bit iffy. Sure, it reduces everything by 2, but that applies to everyone. However, I found it's more beneficial for this deck than it is usually for my opponents. So it's just handy. Ley of Anticipation, you always want Flash. Flash is just useful. Future Sight to get land off the top of your deck. With the addition of Top that I've only added recently, it might come out. I don't know yet, but it's pretty handy. And that's it for enchantments. So next we have creatures. Solemn, fetches a land, draws a card, just useful. I play pods primarily. I don't really play one-on-one very much, so Gutter Snipe's just very strong. Electromancer is pretty much a given in this deck. Just drops costs by 1. Keranos, it's extra draw or it's a bit of spot removal if you need it. And he's also a 6/5 indestructible body, so he's pretty fun for beats if you need it. Thassa, good for scry. That's basically all I use her for. Also, 5/5 body is not a bad thing. Talrand, cast lots of instant sorceries in the deck, so you get 2/2s, really useful. A new card from Eldritch Moon, Docent of Perfection. Kind of fun, puts the tokens on it. Tokens whenever you cast an instant or sorcery. Pretty handy, and they're wizards, so if I was ever going to run as army or anything, this would work really well. If you have 3 of them, you flip it, and it turns into a 6/5, and it buffs them all your wizards by 2/1, and gives them flying. So this is just another beats path. I could easily take Harrand out for it, but I like having both options. And of course, a blue staple, Consecrated Sphinx. You want to draw lots of cards, and you just want to keep drawing. That's all for the creatures. Next we've got Planeswalkers, pretty short list. Ral Zarek, he's just really strong. Jace Beleren, again, drawing cards is a good thing. Usually let everyone draw, no one will touch you, or they'll be nice about it. And then you just start drawing, and drawing wins games. And then Tamiyo for a bit of control, and of course, draw. That's all Planeswalkers. Next we have Sorceries. Bonfire, it's a bit of a sweeper. And it's also arguably a win con if you can storm out a bit. That's always nice. Past in Flames, one of the biggest enablers in the deck. This card is just crazy. Gives everything in your graveyard, instant sorceries in your graveyard, sorry. Flashback for the turn. It's really strong, and because it's 4 mana, 1 red, 3 any. The mix of Electromancer, Jace's Sanctum, or Arcane Melee really make this card very, very powerful. A hideous hideous edition version of Blasphemous Act. I really don't like these borders, but that's just me. Really powerful card. Reforged Soul. Again, I like drawing cards. Everyone likes drawing cards. It's also really, really fun with Cyclonic Rift. Bounce your opponent's field. Get rid of them. Another arguable win con is Epic Experiment. It's just really, really powerful. Really fun to copy with Melek. And it can just get out of control really well, and usually will win games. Commander Staple Preordain. Ponder, just useful filtering. Fabricate, lets me go get Sphinx Bone Wand, a rock, top, anything I need really, artifact-wise. Mystic Retrieval, helps bring back things like Turnabout, one of your win cons if you need it, a tutor spell, all sorts of useful stuff. Treasure Cruise, this card is crazy because you fill your deck pretty quickly, and then you just get rid of all the spells you don't want. It's banned in a lot of formats for a reason. Curse of the Swine, some spot removal on a larger scale if we need it as well. It's a very underrated but powerful card. Another gross edition version, this one's Right. Right Replication is really fun. I normally don't run it in such a spell heavy deck, but it's really, really good with Goblin Electromancer. It's really good with Solemn, Docent, whenever you can kick it, even on your opponent's cards. It's just a good card. Oh, excuse me. Bribery. Bribery's great. You put Bribery on top of your deck, you copy it, you pull Titans out of people's decks, you pull... the last game I played it in, I pulled Blightsteel out, threw down a Right, game got silly. It's just to get big stuff out of your opponent's decks and help keep you alive. This deck can filter through cards really, really quickly, so Time Reversal is really good for that. It also gets rid of threats out of people's hands, and it also just gets your bin back and lets you do some shenanigans. Ugin's Insight, scry X and then draw 3, where X is your highest CMC on the field. Generally this will be 6, sometimes 7 with Sphinx Bone Wand. It's just a useful draw spell. The only extra turn effect I have at the moment is Tom Herald Mastery. Throw it on top of your deck with a tutor or a top. Take a couple extra turns, it's really fun. Again, Blatant Thievery, this is just a fun card. Gets rid of those nasty things that beat you in the face. And Eternal Dominion. I haven't actually cast this in a game yet. I just think it's really fun. And just looking at it, and also I'm not sure if it works the way I think it does, but as far as I'm aware, if I cast this and copy it, even the epic ability will copy. So I'll be able to do it twice a turn, or 3 times if I cast it off the top with Melek and another copy spell. It can just get really crazy, and I really want to try it out. It probably won't work. It's probably a waste of time. But I feel like people will let it resolve because it's fun, before they realize how ridiculous it really is. That's all for sorceries, and finally we have the instants. Come here, cards. We have the instant. We have Chaos Warp, classic spot removal for red, Increasing Vengeance, copies on your own. The flashbacks where it's really good, especially if you have some of the mana reducers. This card gets really good. You pay essentially its base cost to get 2 copies of the spell. It's really fun with Temporal Mastery. Fork, another copy spell. Comet Storm. This is one of the win cons if you generate a butt ton of mana. So it's really handy to wipe people out and can get really crazy. And again, Hideous Border. Yet another copy spell, Wild Ricochet. I really like copying in this. That's half the deck. Not half, but yeah. It's a good portion of the deck and it's really fun to play. Counterflux just stops people countering your counters. Firemind's Foresight, tutor up a bunch of stuff you need. 1, 2, and 3 drops. Usually it'll be like something strong in a 1 drop. 2 drops will be Psy Rift or a copy, and then counter spells usually. Some classic blue cards, Brainstorm, High Tide, which gets really, really crazy with other cards. Mystical Tutor, not really shocking. Swan Song I feel is underrated by a lot of people. I got convinced to use it by a friend of mine, and it's just really, really handy. It gets around things that a lot of people don't expect, and the 2/2 is not really that much of a problem. And it's a 1 mana counter. Not many people expect the 1 mana counter. Pivoting at the Drowning Yard, I'm not sure with yet. It's a pretty strong instant. It's a bigger effect on fiction, and I found it's just something really good to dump if you have excess mana and you just want to filter through your deck a bit. It's kind of handy. Arcane Denial, relatively strong counterspell. Classic blue Psy Rift. Fact of Fiction, don't even need really be mentioned in this card. We all know it's crazy. Counterspell, love that art. Twincast, the blue copy. I don't run Redirect. I don't feel the need for 2 blue ones. I usually run the red ones. I might get another one, I'm not sure. Hinder, since the Commander Tuck rule changes, without tucking now, this card is a bit weaker, but it's still just handy. Because I have a relatively large amount of graveyard decks, and this just bridges them. Same as Spell Crumple, the same rule applies, just to avoid annoying graveyard shenanigans. Rewind, this card I've actually cast on my own spells before, to get more abuse out of High Tide. It's just a really strong counter, I feel. Turnabout, High Tide shenanigans is the definition of this card, and it can get really, really, really crazy. Dig Through Time, another brilliant card. I don't think this needs much explaining. It is just a bit ridiculous. And finally, Blue Sun Zenith. Really strong blue draw. I've killed someone with it before by generating enough mana to draw them out. It's just a really good card. So that's it for Melek. I'm probably going to keep playing this guy for a while. I really do enjoy playing him. And I'm probably going to try and make some more of these deck techs because, hey, I've been watching a lot of them on YouTube and they're a bit of fun to play. They're a bit of fun to do. And, I mean, why the hell not? Alright, thanks guys, hope you enjoyed it.